professional with over 18 years of experience in accounting and financial management. She's a full qualified member of ACCA and BICA BICA and holds additional certifications in risk, public sector project management, and the Management Development Program from Stellenbosch. Beyond the numbers, she's passionate about personal development, continuous learning, and of course, public speaking through Toastmasters. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Matshidiso Misotamaki. Over to you.
Thank you for that beautiful introduction, Madam President. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. My name is Matshidiso Tamaki, and I have the honor of serving as your Toastmaster of the Day for today's meeting. Toastmaster of the Day is what we commonly refer to as the MC, Master of Ceremony, Director of Proceeding, or your host. My role as the Toastmaster of the Day is to guide you through this exciting session and ensure that the meeting runs smoothly. The theme for today's meeting is the last lap. Over to you, Madam President, to offer us the toast for the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. The toast of the day is one of many Toastmasters traditions. So it is said that when Toastmasters was founded by Ralph Smedley, it started off as a dinner where they'd actually take turns giving toasts. So the toast of the day is reminiscent of that or where we started from. So please raise your glasses, be it I have my juice over here. You could have your coffee, your tea. To the strength it takes to begin, to the courage it takes to continue, and to the resilience it takes to finish strong. To the lessons we've learned on the journey, to the relationships we've built along the way, and to the growth that never truly ends. As Christine Kane once said, sometimes you're in a dark place, you think you've been buried, but you've actually been planted. Here's to every lap we've run and to finishing this one with grace, gratitude, and grit. To the last lap and the beginning of what's next. Cheers. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Madam. Oh. Thank you, Madam President. Oh, okay. Moving right along, our meeting is going to be structured in two parts. The first segment is where we are going to be having the prepared speeches, and then later on, we are going to be getting feedback from our evaluators. Before we begin, allow me to introduce my co-pilots. I'm not steering this ship alone. I have a dedicated team that will make this meeting a success. And please help me welcome our functionaries. To start off with the meeting rules, I will call upon the timekeeper, Mr. Nzamo Mkwanazi, to the visual stage. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Mzamo.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. I did not see the color in Madam's President's cup glass, and her energy is questionable tonight. Well, without any further ado, in one of the traditions in Toastmasters is to learn how to deliver a speech at a given specific time, within a specific time. As your timer tonight, I will be timing all the speeches, evaluations, and also the table topics. Well, we have a 4 to 6 minute speech, and we have a 5 to 7 minute speech, and then our table topics will be 2 minutes. Therefore, for the 4 to 6 minutes, at 4 minutes, I will be having a green screen. And at 5 minutes, I will show a yellow screen so that the speaker can just round up the speech. And then at 6 minutes, I will show a red screen stating that it is time to finish. And on a 5 to 7 minutes speech, I will show a green screen at 5 minutes, yellow at 6 minutes, and then at 7 minutes, I will show a red screen, which means the speaker will have approximately 30 minutes to 30 seconds to round up their speeches. And during the toast table topics, the speakers will be given 2 minutes each. Therefore, at 1 minute, I will show green screen. 1 minute, 30 seconds, I will show yellow screen. And then at 3 minutes, I will show red. With our evaluators, they are given 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I will show my green screen at 2.5 yellow, and then at 3 minutes, I will show red. I hope Julie is noting. Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster of the day. And I'll give my report when requested.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mkwanazi. I would like to call upon our grammarian, Ms. Leah Musunga, to come to the virtual stage and explain her role. Over to you, Ms. Leah.
Thank you so much for that, Madam Toastmaster of the day. As the grammarian, I am basically the language police. So I will be checking the use of the English language. We used to say the Queen's language, it's now the King's language. So I'll be monitoring good usage of words, phrases that will be used by all our speakers today as they come to the virtual stage. And as the grammarian, it's also my role to introduce the word of the day. It is shared on our agenda, which will hopefully be shared again in the chat. But in the meantime, let me just share with you the word of the day for today. And our word of the day for today is momentum. I hope it comes onto the screen. There we go. And basically, what does it mean? This is the force that keeps something moving forward. And an example of using this word in a sentence, one can say, let's maintain our momentum and finish this Toastmasters year strong. So I'd like to once again encourage all our speakers coming to the virtual stage to please use the word of the day, momentum. Thank you, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Leah. I would now call upon our R and M counter, Mr. Theo Malive.
Greetings to all, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. The purpose of the R counter is to note sounds or words that are used as crutch or filler words by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will listen for overused words such as I, such as well, so, you know, and I will also listen for filler words, including the I, this means, and at the end of our meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker used these expressions. I remember, I'll be watching out for those. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Malibe. Lastly, I would like to call upon our headmaster to the virtual stage to explain their role. Over to you, Gary.
Good evening, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. As your headmaster, rather, my role this evening is to encourage effective listening. I'll be compiling questions to run at the end towards the end. So stay alert, keep the momentum going, We're gonna have fun testing how you guys have been paying attention. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Kagalelo. Now let's dive into our first segment of our meeting, which is the prepared speeches. Our first speaker is Sekgabo Malefo. We'll call upon her evaluator, Mr. Piwa Motsweni, to come to the virtual stage and introduce Sekgabo's speech title and objective. Tapiwa. Ms. Leah, do we have Tapiwa on the call?
It looks like she is not on the call. Tumelo, if you could please evaluate Sekgabo.
All right, thank you. Good evening once again. It gives me great pleasure to evaluate Sekgabo Malefo as she gives her icebreaker speech, the very first speech at Toastmasters. The basic objective of the speech is for her to introduce herself to the club and just share any aspect of her life that she's comfortable with as an introduction to her joining this journey. And additionally, she could also share why she joined Toastmasters. I look forward to hearing from you, Sekgabo, as you give your debut speech at Gaborone Toastmasters Club. All the best. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. Over to you, Sekgabo.
Good evening. I hope and trust I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Wonderful. Nursing a bit of a cold, so bear with me if my voice flatlines, but I'm happy to be giving my first speech, although the nerves are there. My name is Sekgabo Atila Malefo. I'm an attorney by profession, having read the law at the university. Argue I'll go join the Toastmasters. I realized I made a mistake during my during my second year of law school. I didn't want to appear in court, argue problems, especially people problems. I wanted to work in business, finance to be specific. One of the dangerous things of asking a 15-year-old to decide what they're going to do for the next 30 odd years of their life is that they'll make a decision like one I made. I completed an aptitude test one day in guidance and counseling class, which led me to sitting in class realizing that this was not my dream. I didn't have the passionate desire that my classmates had. I lost hope and by extension interest in my classes. I was despondent, lost, and confused. Reasonably, my grades began to slip. Of course, the natural consequence of not attending class is you'll have very little to write in the test and by extension, the exam. I trudged along, escaped failing discontinued status by a hair, but that meant I had courses I would need to complete in an extra semester. During that school break, I interrogated myself. I asked, how did I get here? And what was I going to do to get myself out of this situation? The answer to question A was I abdicated important decision-making to a third party. I was so unsure of myself and my ability to know what was best for me that I let a test tell me who I am and what I am. I knew that I needed to learn to trust my own voice, but who was my voice? What did she sound like? What were her values and beliefs? And I tried to work on finding that voice. I tried new hobbies. I met new people. I challenged myself in new ways, physically and mentally, all in an effort to identify who I am and what my purpose was in this little life of mine. I cannot say this journey has ended, but I'm sure I'm further now than I was all those years ago. On question B, I studied hard. I'm happy to say that I graduated within my new timeline, meaning that I had to ultimately work in this field after getting my degree. I learned to love the law, more what it taught me and not what I should be. I raised my hand and volunteered for different projects and now find myself able to describe myself as a compliance practitioner, not and attorney at law. I've crafted processes, conducted training, developed methodologies to tackle business challenges, and I have been able to make a meaningful impact with that LLB that I so dislike. And yet my restless spirit still strives for more. I must say I get bored very easily and always look to new challenges. And this is how I ended up here at Toastmasters. Many moons ago, during an argument with a former partner, he said, "You love to argue, Sakhabo. Akwe go join a Toastmasters." I took it as an insult and a joke on that day. But when I saw a little advert of an open day at Toastmasters, I remembered what that young man said and decided to come. Each week, I hope to make incremental change that drive towards a different picture for my life. I hope to gain confidence and small wins to gain momentum and propel myself forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Sekabo, for that wonderful icebreaker. Thank you, Sekabo. Our next speaker is Changu Ernest. I want to believe Palesa Makato is here as her evaluator to give her speech objectives. Ms. Leah, can you confirm if Palesa is here?
I don't see Palisa, but I think Lame can evaluate Changu, but I don't see Changu on the list unless she came in with a different name.
Okay.
Changu, is Changu here? No, I don't see her on the list. So I guess we can go to the next speaker.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Leah. Our next speaker is Dimpo Tina. At this point, I would like to invite her evaluator, Ms. Julia Davis, to the podium to give us the speech title and objective. Thank you. Over to you, Ms. Julie.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster, and good evening, fellow Toastmasters in Botswana and in South Africa. Umlazi is represented here with you at Gaborone. We are pleased to be with you. Dimpo Tina, let me see you there. It's lovely to meet you, and I'm so glad to have the opportunity to evaluate you. I'm sorry I haven't met you before. I believe that you are doing presentation mastery, and you are on level 1, project 3. And the task that you've got tonight is an introduction to body language and also vocal variety. So that's what I'll be looking out for tonight. It doesn't really matter too much about the other aspects, because this is the goal for tonight. This is what we are looking for. Vocal variety and body language. That's where our focus is. Now, what is the speech title? My memorable vacation at Kasane, Botswana. That's going to be very interesting for us South Africans to listen to, and we look forward to your speech. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster, to do the formal introduction.
Thank you, Julie. Over to you, Dimpo. Dimpo, are you there?
I'm there. Am I audible enough?
Yes, you can continue. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Dimpo Tina. Good morning to good evening to Madam Toastmasters of the evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My speech is titled My Memorable Vacation at Kasane. As a proud citizen of Botswana, I recently had the privilege of experiencing one of our country's most breathtaking destination at Kasane with my husband. I just want to share how special our trip was. Not only for the stunning scenery it had, but for the deepened bond it created for us. Truly, Kasane is a gem, nestled at the meeting point of 4 countries, being Botswana, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Namibia. Its unique location on the banks of Chobe River makes it the vibrant northern getaway to Chobe National Parks, which is renowned for having the densest population of wildlife in the world. The moment we arrived, we were greeted by a sight of elephants and hippos wandering freely. A reminder that shows how closely nature and daily life are in our country. For anyone who loves nature, Kasane is having over 450 species of birds and countless wildlife. The game drive offers us to see lions and other wildlife up close, making every moment feel like a scene from a documentary. Beyond the wildlife, Kasane offers a rich cultural experience. We visited local art galleries and traditional craft stalls, which gave us a deeper appreciation for the creativity and heritage of our people. What made this vacation memorable was the time I spent away from our daily life routine with my husband. I was also reminded of how fortunate we are as Botswana to have such an incredible places within our reach. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for allowing me to share my experiences with you tonight. And I encourage every one of you to explore Kasane and discover its magic for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Dinko. Moving right along, our next speaker is Asalepile Banda, who will be evaluated by Ms. Lame Mtetwa. Please welcome Lamin Teta to the virtual stage to come and introduce Asalepile Banda's speech, title, and objective.
Sorry, apologies, Toastmaster of the Day. Asala Pile is not on the call, so we'll move on to the next speaker.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Leah. Our next speaker is Hasina Hamdani, who will be evaluated by Madam President Tumelo Mapalala. Allow me to welcome Ms. Tumelo to the virtual stage to come and introduce Hasina's speech title and objective. Over to
Thank you,
Ms.
Madam.
Tumelo.
Yes, thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Tonight, I have the pleasure of evaluating Toastmaster Hasina Hamdani. Hasina is on the pathway Persuasive Influence. Pathways are another thing here, another tradition. And she's on level 3 project. Her project is an elective and it is titled Understanding Conflict Resolution. The purpose of this project is for Hasina to develop or enhance her understanding of the steps and strategies to address conflict. She is to share an aspect of her experience, either learning about or resolving said conflict. So thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you, Hasina. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
All right, thank you. Over to you, Ms. Hasina.
You never listen to me. These words, the words my husband spoke to me last week. I wanted to shout it back, but then something stopped me. I looked at him. I really looked at him. And what did I see? I saw myself. The same frustrations, the same need to be heard, the same fear that no one cares what I think. Good evening, Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters, and the distinguished guest. Today, I am going to share 3 simple truths that will change how you handle your arguments, your disagreements, and every hard conversations that will change your life. The first one, we fight with our own reflection. Just think about the last time someone made you very angry. Maybe your boss criticized your work, or your child refused to do homework, or your neighbor blasted loud music late night. Last month, my sister told me, selfish, you don't have time for us. It made me so angry. Why these words made me so much angry? I asked myself, and the truth? Because I am selfish sometimes. Her words stung because they showed me something which I didn't want to see. Next time, anyone make you very angry, you must, they are showing our weaknesses. We should try to see what actually they are trying to tell us. If we realize that, we get the opportunity to grow instead of just getting mad. The second, we have to choose our responses. You know about Viktor Frankl? He survived his concentration camp and he revealed that between what happens to us and how we respond, there's a space. And in that space lies our strength, our potential to respond. I remember when we were planning for our son's wedding, my husband wanted to do traditional ceremony and I wanted to do modern celebrations. We were at the crossroad. We could have fight over it, but we chose to fight for each other. Instead of choosing between tradition and modern, we chose tradition with modern. And the result, a celebration so great that even our most traditional family members danced with our modern friends. So the every time you have to take time to think how to respond. And those few moments, it can make your response very powerful. The third, we have to think about our legacy. Your responses should create legacy. If there was a last time we had a family gathering and the topic of religion came in between. Younger me, I would have jumped in with my all arguments and all logics, but I choose to respond differently this time. I listened to them first. I asked them questions and I made them feel that you are heard. I made them feel heard instead of making them feel that you are wrong. That room, it didn't become quiet, rather it grew very close. And my nephew told me after that auntie, I want to learn how you speak to the people, the way you speak to the people. I want to learn that. So by choosing our words, we are not just ending that argument, but we are creating legacy for our future generation. So let me ask you, what if the person who made you most angry is not your enemy, but your teacher? What if the conflict you are facing is not a difficulty, bad circumstances? It is an potential, it is an opportunity. And what if the words you choose, the words the magic you create, it gives a long-term legacy for the future generation to respond in their difficult time. I have created from these three lessons that in every space there are three choices you have: fight, flight, or flow with the moment so that everyone feel honored. Every time you face any confrontation, any conflicts, you are not you are not the victim of the circumstances, but you can become an architect of your responses. Let me finish with this. The question is not about, are you ready to face the conflict? The question is, what will you build from it? Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mrs. Hasina Hamdani. That was a powerful presentation. Our next speaker is Ms. Changu Ernest, who will be evaluated by Ms. Lami Mtetra. Please help me welcome Ms. Lami Mtetra to the virtual stage to introduce Changu Ernest. Thank you. Over to you, Ms. Lami. Labe? Miss Leah?
Hello, sorry, I'm just trying to spotlight her.
Okay.
And I would also like to ask Chang. Oh, okay, Changa's video is on. Okay, and okay, there's Lami.
I'm
There we
here,
go.
Madam Toastmaster of
All
the
right.
day.
Yes, I've seen
Okay.
you.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. This evening, I have the privilege of evaluating Changu Ernest, who is also giving her icebreaker, which is the very first speech we give in Toastmasters. The objectives or the purpose of this speech is for Changu to introduce herself to the club or even share or tell us why she joined Toastmasters. All the best to you, Changu Ernest.
Thank you. Well, the title of my speech is Becoming Me. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and protocol observed. My name is Changu Ernest, and I'm going to share a story I once wanted to forget, but I realized it's one of the most important parts of becoming me. I was standing on a brightly lit stage, dressed in a beautiful gown, looking very angelic. It was the final round of the Miss Universe Botswana 2024 competition, and I made it to top 6. Then came the part everyone waits for, which is the question and answer round. My name was called. I stepped forward. The question was asked, and I went blank. I went completely blank. The only thing I remember saying was, thank you. That's the only thing I remember saying. Thank you. And then what happened was the results were announced and my name was not called. This only meant I did not win. I didn't even place in top 3. That night, I went home devastated. I was shattered and very embarrassed. Not because I didn't win, but because I felt like I lost myself. I allowed that moment to define me. I avoided people for a while and also avoided anything that had to do with pageantry. But slowly I started asking myself the real reason why I joined the pageant. And the answer was very simple. I wanted to challenge myself, and I also wanted to step out of my comfort zone, of which I did. I then realized something very powerful. I realized that you don't become yourself through your perfect moments. You become yourself when things go wrong, when you feel shattered, when you feel embarrassed, but still choose to try again. No, I didn't win the crown, but I walked away with something more valuable. The a setback into a stepping stone. Becoming me means allowing a title to define my worth. I now know my worth. And if you were to ask me right now if I would ever step on that stage, I will walk on that stage not to prove anything, but to honor the woman I'm becoming. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Changu. You to all the speakers for those powerful presentations. Each one of you demonstrated the passion it takes to finish the line on your pathways. Miss Leah, can you kindly run the poll for the best speaker attempt at this moment?
Okay, there should be a poll that will be appearing on your screen in a few minutes. So there's a poll on the screen. You can vote. .
Okay. How are we going with the poll, Miss Leah? Can I kindly continue while
Yes,
we
I
run
think
the
you can
poll?
continue. Yeah, at 57, but I'm sure in a few minutes it will be done. Yeah.
Okay. To give us a rundown of how we were faring with time, I will take this moment to welcome our timekeeper, Mr. Mkwanazi, to the virtual stage to give us the timekeeper's report.
Thank you once
Over to
again,
you.
Madam. Thank you once
Yes.
again, Madam Toastmaster of the day. Usehabo took 4 minutes, 28 minutes within the green mind, the green space. And Changu Ernest took 3 minutes on her 4 to 6 minute speech, which means she was 1 minute below the required time. That's nothing to worry about. Next time you just practice more. And then Buntle, 4 minutes, 40 seconds. And then Hassan took 7 minutes, 30 seconds. She was 30 seconds above her allocated time. Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Mr. Mkwanazi. We are now gaining momentum, ladies and gentlemen. We are going over to the table topic segment, which is going to be led by our table topics master, Lamim Tetra. This segment will help us think on our feet and improve on our impromptu speaking skills. Let's welcome our table topics master, Lamim Tetra, to the virtual stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day. Good evening once more, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I am your table topic master for today, and our theme is the last lap. And I'd like to start off by saying whether it's a race, a goal, a project, or a season in life, we all know that the final stretch is where the pressure arises. At times, the fatigue kicks in. At times, doubt creeps in. But also, that is where champions are made. Today, for our impromptu speaking session, we're going to explore what it means to give our all, to find our second wind and cross the finish line. With me here, I have different topics, and I'll be inviting volunteers to the virtual stage to pick a question, and I'll present a particular question or a topic to that speaker. You will have 1 to 2 minutes to respond, and tell you what, don't worry about being perfect. Just speak your heart and have fun. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, who is going to be our first volunteer? Who is going to be our first volunteer to practice the impromptu speaking? Madam Zoom Master, assist if there is anyone who has raised their hands.
No hands raised.
I'll take
Volunteers
the first question.
going once. Okay.
There are 2 hands.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay. Our first volunteer is Mzamo, who is our second volunteer.
Julie.
Julie. Awesome.
Yes.
So we will start with Toastmaster Mzamo. Good evening, Toastmaster Mzamo.
Good evening.
You can unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Between number 1 and 10, please choose a number.
1, obviously.
Number 1. And this is your question, Toastmaster Mzamo. What motivates you when you are in the final stretch of a goal? What motivates you when you are in the final stretch of a goal?
Well, thank you very much, Madam Table Topics Master. Well, on the last lap of my goal, usually my coach usually says, you must finish strong. So that's always my motivation to say, whatever that I do towards the end or towards the goal realization, I must ensure that I put as much energy as possible to ensure that I do finish what I started and I finish strong. You will know that some of you do not know that I did participate in the Ultimate Human Race last week, 2 weeks ago, which is Comrades Marathon. It was my 11th. And I had a terrible, terrible day on the run, 90 kilometers. But when I was 5 kilometers to go, when I had 5 kilometers to go, I had the fastest time of the day, which meant that I knew that I was about to reach my goal. I knew that that's where I will finish strong, so that when I appear on the camera, I appear all gorgeous and fit. But otherwise, in my legs, it says something else. Thank you very much, Madam Table Topics Master. That's my time.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mzamo. I believe you had it, gentlemen. If you want to look gorgeous in front of the camera, go for the Comrades Marathon. Julie, you are a second volunteer. Question between 1 and 10. 1 is already taken. Which number are you going to pick?
Mzamo from Umlazi was number 1, and Julie from Umlazi will be number 2.
Okay. Toastmaster Julie, describe a time you nearly gave up but decided to push through, and tell us what changed. I'll repeat that. Describe a time you nearly gave up but decided to push through, and tell us what changed.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. About a time that I nearly gave up, but I pushed through. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. That's like a stab in the heart for me. There have been so many times in my life that I have wanted to give up. Not when I was a child or a teenager, but in my marriage, in my motherhood, and now in the more senior years of my life. Just want to tell you that I'm going to be 68 this year. 68 this year. Let me get that out. Which time in my life have I wanted to give up? Which one can I tell you about? There have been so many. My life, I might look as though I'm doing quite well, but there have been so many challenges. What actually has pushed me through? It's not been the encouragement of friends. It's not been my faith. It's not actually been that I've thought that everything will work out. But what has actually made me push through those very insurmountable challenges is that I needed to do it for my kids. I needed to show my kids, I needed to demonstrate to them that you have to push through. And that is what has pushed me through and stopped me from collapsing. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Julie, and my apologies for stabbing you in the heart with that challenging question, but thank you for being vulnerable. I believe we got motivated, we got inspired and encouraged that we don't give up, but we push through. Theo, I can see that your hand is up. Theo?
Yes, ma'am. I'm up for the challenge.
Okay, between 3 and number 10, please pick a number. Then I'll present your question.
I would go for number 8.
Number 8. Number 8, what advice would you give to someone who is ready to quit too soon? What advice would you give to someone who is ready to quit too soon? Over to you, Toastmaster Theo.
Okay, thank you. Greetings again, fellow Toastmasters, and thank you for the opportunity, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. What I can tell you is that quitting is an easy option. It's an easy way out of any challenging situation. And I believe that all of us have had moments where we wanted to quit. But what we have to look for is the challenge that is there before you. After overcoming that challenge, there will be growth. So quitting is not an option. Quitting is an easy way out. What I can share with you, fellow Toastmasters, is a code that says, if you cannot run, walk. If you cannot walk, run. And if you cannot run, walk. If you cannot walk, crawl. So we have to do everything in our power, even though we are losing momentum, to make sure that we cross the finish line. We overcome the challenges that is before us. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Theo. If you cannot run, walk. If you cannot walk, crawl. And I guess if you can't crawl, move. Just make any movement. Thank you, Toastmaster Theo. I can see Ernest's hand is up. Good evening, Toastmaster Ernest. You can unmute yourself.
Good evening.
Okay. You can pick a number.
Okay. Okay.
Toastmaster Ernest, you are not audible. Pick a number.
Am I audible?
Okay, yes, now you are a little audible.
10?
Number 10.
Yes.
Did you say number 10?
Yes.
Okay.
If I'm not audible, can we maybe proceed to the next one so that I can...
I'm not sure if everyone can hear Ernest. Maybe it's my sound. Can you all hear Ernest?
Let's check for the last time.
He's
Okay.
audible, but his volume is a bit low. We are struggling to hear him.
Okay, I believe he's still sorting out his sound. Any volunteer while we're still waiting for Toastmaster Ernest to sort out his sound? Remember, the theme is the last lap. Okay, Pamela. Madam Zoom Master, can you spotlight Pamela? Okay. Hello, Pamela, please unmute yourself.
Good evening.
Good
evening.
Am I audible? Yes, you are audible, and we can all hear you. So please pick a number between 3 and 10. Number 8 has been taken.
Okay, I'll go for number 3.
Number 3. Pamela, how do you handle pressure when the deadline is approaching fast? How do you handle pressure when the deadline is approaching fast?
Okay, thank you for that question. Good evening, all Toastmasters. Pardon me, my voice is a bit rust because I have flu. But how do I handle pressure when the deadline is approaching fast? Unfortunately for me, I'm a person who works well under pressure. I sort of move during the last minute. There's an energy that just comes within me. I don't know where it comes from, but I work well under pressure. So most of the time when I'm doing something and it's towards the finishing line, that's when I get the best energy and I put my best foot forward. So I would say I handle it quite well. But I'll also just encourage those maybe don't handle it well to look at the goal. At the end of the day, you want to achieve something. And what you have to ask yourself at that last lap is, how will I feel if I don't give this task my all at the end of the task? No matter the outcome, you want to give it your all. You want to give it your last best chance so that when you are on the other side of the goal, you'd feel there's nothing for you to regret. You have given it your best and you have done everything within your power that you are capable to do at that point towards achieving the goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. From here, please, can you just generously share a dose of that energy? I want to believe that a lot of us would do with that energy. I just saw Ernest manage to get back into the room. Ernest, are you ready to? Ernest? Mr. Timer, how am I doing with time? Can I take one more volunteer?
You're doing very bad, but it's fine. I'll give you one more speaker.
Okay. Any last volunteer?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Is that Ernest?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, we can hear you, Ernest. So please pick a number.
I picked 10 earlier.
Oh, you picked 10. Okay. Yeah. Number 10 says, do you believe the last lap is mental, emotional, or physical? And tell us why.
Do I believe the last lap is physical, mental, emotional?
And tell us why.
What a difficult question. You know, for some reason, I believe, yes, the last lap is the most challenging mentally and emotionally, because that's where most of us lose it. Why is it that we lose it there? Imagine we're in a journey, we are facing challenges. Everything has been piling as you go. And all this odds that you are facing are piling up. And you never know, like, I'm about to reach that goal. At that point, there's so many that is going against you. Think, do I give up? And the difference between the winners and the losers at that time will not be the physical. You must still have the strength, but are you ready for it for mentally? As a soccer lover, I've seen teams that have been doing well lose the game during that time, during the last lap. Recently, I was watching Barcelona versus Inter Milan, Portugal versus Spain. When you look at how both Spain and Inter Milan won, It wasn't physical. Barcelona was superior. Spain was superior. But it was the mental courage and edge to do better than others. I think that's why I would say the last lap is emotional. It's needs you to be mentally strong. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Ernest. You really persevered through. Thank you to everyone who participated and took part in this table topic segment. I'll be handing over to our Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master, for this fantastic session. We had great responses, and to our volunteers, thank you so much. Moving right along, I will be calling upon our Hack Master to the virtual stage. I hope we've all been listening attentively to all the speeches as she will be testing our listening skills. Over to you, Ms. Kagelelo Mogotsi, Hack Master.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster, Madam Toastmaster, and good evening once again. Let us get started right away. First question, what did Sakabo learn to love? What did Sakabo
Law.
learn to love? Yes, law. Who did Mpho go to Kasane with?
Husband.
Yes. What did Sakabo do during her school break?
Nothing.
No, try again. Try again.
Please unmute and participate. I said, please unmute and participate. People are muted.
Oh, okay.
She sings.
Okay. If this one is hard, I'll give you the answer. She introspected.
Nothing.
Hasina said she is. Hasina said she is sometimes what?
Selfish.
Yes. According to Dimpo, how many species of birds are there in Kasane?
Hundreds?
Pardon?
A lot.
No. She said a number.
120.
400. It was 400. Why did Changu join pageantry?
Challenge yourself.
Yes, to challenge herself.
She's
Who
gorgeous.
told Hasina she doesn't have time for them?
Her sister.
Her sister.
Yes, her sister. Will Changu ever walk on the pageantry stage?
Yes.
Yes.
And we wish for
Yes,
her.
she
So
is
wishing
going to walk.
yeah.
And that was the last question. Thank you very much. You guys proved that ears does more than hold up our glasses. Thank you very much for your energy and participation. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Madam Hackmaster. We will now run the poll to vote for the best table topic speaker. Miss Leah, our Zoom master, will help us with that one.
The poll has been launched. You'll be able to see it on the screen.
Yeah, I'm voting for myself. I'm voting for myself. Yeah. Oh, and I thought I'm muted. Sorry.
Yes, you can vote for yourself. Yeah, you should see the poll on screen for the 5 people who presented this evening.
Okay, I guess we can continue, Ms. Leah.
Yes.
We are now moving to the last lap of our meeting, which is the evaluation session. This is where we receive constructive feedback to help us grow as speakers. In Toastmasters, we say feedback is the breakfast of champions. So to lead this session, we welcome our general evaluator, who's none other than Ms. Leah Musunga, who will introduce the speech evaluations and also provide an overall assessment of the entire meeting at the end. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much for that. Yes, I'm stepping in for our previous General Evaluator, Palesa, who unfortunately got stuck in traffic. And as they say in Toastmaster, a Toastmaster wears many hats. One should always be ready. So this is the session where we get feedback for our speakers that have presented today. And as we always say in Toastmasters, feedback is the breakfast of champions. And I would like to start by, I think I'll try and call them according to how they gave the speeches. So I will start with the evaluator for our first speaker, Serabo. So that was Tumelo, who evaluated her. If you could please come and give us the evaluation of Serhabo's speech.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Good evening once again. Tonight I had the pleasure of evaluating Sekhabo Malefo as she gave her first ever speech at Toastmasters. Good evening, Sekhabo, and I'm indeed grateful to the young man or gentleman who challenged you to join Toastmasters. So, without further ado, Sekhabo, I'd like to give you my evaluation in a simple format of 3 things you did well, 2 things you may want to work on, and 1 way to challenge yourself. The first and foremost thing you did was that you satisfied the objective of the speech. You introduced yourself. You gave us your background both educationally and in your career. Personally, there was room to say more, but I'll get to that. You were very clear, confident, and Zoomaster, please mute some speakers. You are very clear, confident, composed, and maintained eye contact throughout your speech. You sat at this level, we saw you, you looked us straight in the eye, it felt personal. The third thing you did well was that you had a well-structured speech that had a clear intro, a body, and a conclusion. And you took advantage of that aptitude test to expand your body into several things you learned or found out about yourself when you forced yourself to fall for law. That is, with that said, I think the 2 things you may want to work on, however, are body language and vocal variety. You're new to Toastmasters, and this is a project that you will do soon. But by sitting at this level, I unfortunately could not see your hands, and I could only see your face and what you presented in that moment. Vocal variety wise, you spoke at a monotone for most or throughout the speech. You did excuse yourself and were aware that you were nursing the flu. However, in terms of content, there was a lot to expand on based off of the objectives of your speech being to introduce yourself. You told us about finding your voice, but who is Sekhabo Malefo? Are you a Malefo from Silibe Pikwe? I know a few from there. Or there's just an opportunity to add more to what you could say in that moment. This is one thing. Therefore, this is one thing to challenge yourself. Give your speech standing. That is one way that we can appreciate your body movement, both intentional and unintentional. There's some movements we use to emphasize our points, but there are others that we make unknowingly, and we can't take advantage or get to evaluate those and have them leave you on this public speaking journey if we cannot view at least from the waist up. With that said, Sekhabo, congratulations on delivering your first ever speech at Toastmasters. Welcome at long last. You have finally joined. And because you like to talk so much, you will learn a lot. And in summary, 3 things you did well: you introduced yourself, by virtue of the background in your education and career. You were clear, you were confident, you were composed, and you also gave a well-structured speech. Two things to work on, however, are body language and vocal variety, and perhaps even expanding on the content that's available for your use. One way to challenge yourself is to give your speech standing. I look forward to hearing so much from you, Sakabo Malefo, as you grow on this journey at Toastmasters. And once again, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Dumelo, for that detailed evaluation of our first speaker. You definitely covered the pertinent stuff in her speech. And like you said, she's a new member. We're definitely looking forward to more speeches from her. So we'll move on to our next speaker as we continue with the momentum of our evaluations. And I would like to invite Julie, who was evaluating Dimple this evening. Julie?
Good evening once again, fellow Toastmasters, and most especially the lovely Dimpo Tina. It was super to hear your speech. When we give an evaluation at Toastmasters, it is not only for the person who gave the speech, it is for everybody to learn from. So first of all, I'm going to commend our speaker on some things that were done well. Then I'm going to focus on what was the goal of the speech and make some comments there. And in conclusion, I'm going to round up what was done well and give some encouragement for momentum going forwards. So to start off with, there was lovely vocabulary in the speech. Words like, it's a gem, breathtaking, stunning scenery. Thank you for expanding your vocabulary and giving us a picture of what you saw. I really respected you for explaining to us how important it is to have an appreciation for our country, our continent, and our peoples. And I have been to the same place, and I had the same feeling. Wonderful. Thank you for endearing us to the value of your country and that special place that you visited. So let's look at a couple of things about what was the goal of this speech. The goal of this speech was actually body language and vocal variety. This lovely lady had a clear voice. But let's chat a little bit about how we can improve vocal variety and body language. First of all, well done for standing up. But when we stand up, we want to make sure that we don't go out of the screen. And that's really something that we have to be careful about. But fantastic that she was stood up. Then also, as she was speaking, she used her hands in lovely gestures like this. But you know, there's more you can do with gestures. You could say something was behind you, or something was in front, or you thought about something, or something was over there, or you felt something in your heart, or something was worrying you in your head. One gesture was really well used, but let's try to use as many different kinds of gestures as we can. 1, 2, 3. This one or that one. And perhaps I'm demonstrating to you now about the different types of gestures that we can use. In conclusion, as I said, I went to this very special place with my ex-husband, and I really commend you for going on wonderful trips to special places. This is definitely not the last lap of your marriage. You are gaining momentum, having these wonderful experiences and respecting your country and your people and inspiring us to go and visit spaces and places and people instead of sitting at home and watching Netflix. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster. Thank you. We look forward to your next speech with momentum. going forwards.
Thank you so much, Julie, for that detailed feedback that you have provided for Dimpo's speech. And one thing about the feedback that we normally get in Toastmasters, as much as it's being given to the speaker who would have presented, it's also good for us to listen and glean some of the information being shared so that we can also improve on our speeches. So let us not just see it as just for that particular person, but also try and pick up some of the nuggets that are being shared so that when we present, we'll also be able to incorporate the feedback that is being said. With that said, I would now like to invite Dumelo once again to come to the virtual stage as she was evaluating Hasina. Dumelo?
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Good evening once again. I had the pleasure of evaluating Hasina, who is currently doing an elective called, sorry about that, Understanding Conflict Resolution. Indeed, she started off by saying, "You never listened to me." I was ready to hear more. So good evening, Hasina, and I'm delighted to deliver your report today. You gave a wonderful speech titled Three Truths, which you indeed got into. So these are the three things you did well, the two things you may want to work on, and one way to challenge yourself. The three things you did well was that you did give us a conflict resolution strategy, which involved the three truths. The three truths being that we fight with our own reflection, and we should always remember to leave a proper legacy behind post having conflict. You also added stories. There were ample stories to your speech. You spoke of how the first statement you made was made by your husband, how your sister called you selfish, and how you had an argument with your family concerning religion. Those were lovely stories which painted a picture of this conflict resolution strategy you spoke of. You also had ample quotes of speech from people you dealt with, being, I remember your husband's statement as well as your nephew's statement to ask you to teach him how to do this. And lastly, your speech was well structured. It had that captivating intro. It had a strong body centered around those three truths and a conclusion with a clear call to action for us to be cognizant of how we handle conflict in our lives. However, the two things you may want to work on are, in my view, your camera disadvantaged you this time around. I could not take advantage or see most of your body language unless if you came quite closer to the screen, which limited my observations in that regard. But I'd still challenge you to work on intentional body language as well as vocal variety. When you opened your speech, you shouted, but for the rest of the speech, I felt or I noticed that you stayed monotone almost throughout the entire speech. One way to challenge yourself, Hasina, would be to formulate the speech around at least one story, at most two. At this point, I'm still wondering how it ended with your sister, how it ended with your husband, how it ended with the family, which can be a bit distracting for your audience. So perhaps next time, center your speech around one story so that we can attribute the lessons of the three truths to that one story. In summary, Hasina, you gave us a conflict resolution strategy. You added stories and you structured your speech well. The two things to work on, I will always point out: intentional body language as well as vocal variety. One way to challenge yourself: consider centering your speech around one great story, which we can appreciate from start to end. With that said, Hasina, it's lovely to hear you speak. You are growing on this personal development journey, and with every speech, we are able to see and appreciate your growth. You have gained momentum, and you are indeed finishing strong. Thank you. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Tumelo, once again for that evaluation. And I would now like to invite our final evaluator, and that was Lame Muteto, who was evaluating our other icebreaker speech, Django. Lame. Sorry.
Thank you, Toastmaster Leah. It's winter, we all understand. Toastmaster Changu, what a way to break the ice. You don't become yourself during perfect moments. 3 things that you did very well in delivering your speech. I loved how you introduced your speech. I loved how you continued to continue to tell us your personal story and even how you concluded. And this is how you did this very well. In the introduction, Changu, you told us what you were going to talk about, which is a basic structure of a speech. The introduction, you tell us what you're going to tell us. You went on to the body and you told us what you had promised to tell us. You had promised us that you will give us a personal story of what transpired in one of your pageantry events. In your body, you told us. And I loved how you painted a picture in our minds. I could picture the angelic Changu. And you did that very well by using descriptive words. You told us you were standing tall, you looked angelic. You continued with your personal story. I loved how you told us at one point you were devastated, you were embarrassed of how that whole pageantry event transpired. And you concluded your speech very well. You landed very well. You didn't leave us hanging in your personal story. I loved how you challenged us. In your conclusion, every conclusion is supposed to have a call to action. And you called us to continue challenging ourselves and stepping out of our zones. And you depicted that very well today, Changu, by giving your first icebreaker, which is your first speech in Toastmasters. Now, going back to the objectives or going back to what you can challenge yourself on your next speech. Your speech required you to introduce yourself to us. We wanted to know who Changu is. And you had 1 minute to do so. You gave your speech in 3 minutes and the expected time was 4 minutes to 6 minutes. We wanted to hear more. We wanted to know more. Now we only know that Changu is a pageant. We want to know more. So next time I'll challenge you that when you give your speech, go through your objectives and just something to help you if you would love to give this speech again. Just pick 3 things about yourself and tell us 3 things about yourself. But all in all, I loved your speech, Changu. It was an inspiring speech. You challenged us. And indeed, no one is made in that perfect moment. Wish you all the best in your Toastmaster journey. Over to you, Toastmaster Leah.
Thank you so much, Lame, for that feedback. And I must say, I'm glad with all our evaluators today is that they are even summarizing the evaluations at the end, because an evaluation is also a speech. It has an opening, a body, and it has a conclusion. And when you summarize the evaluation at the end, that is forming the conclusion of your evaluation. So thank you so much, Lame, for that. So I'll now like to call the other role players of the meeting to then come and give their reports at this moment. And we're going to start with our R counter. And I'd like to invite Teo to please come and give us the R counter report. Teo, your video is off.
Okay, sorry. Apologies. Greetings again, fellow Toastmasters. With the R counter, I'll just start off by giving an overall feedback to those who did their speeches. What they really improved on is they took the pauses, even if the pause meant, even if the pause was very long, they did take the pauses to replace those filler words. And then I would like to commend all of those who gave speeches on that. The pauses is one of the ways in which you can avoid to give out a filler word to say it's a good move there. So I'd like to commend all of you. Going into individual speakers, starting off with Sakabo. Sakabo, it was very, very difficult to hear Sakabo, as she mentioned earlier that she has cold, and somehow I'm not sure if that I had repeating were her trying to breathe due to the illness, or was it just a filler word? But yeah, what I had is the air that she gave, and I had the air as a filler word 3 times. Moving on to the next speaker, who is Dimpotina. Dimpotina, what I noticed just before you gave your speech at the introduction, you kept on saying good morning, good evening, good morning, good evening, but I think that was the nerves, and that is something that I also have to point out. I also had the sound of 3 times, and one thing, like I said earlier, is to commend you on the long breaks, so that you cannot see the and maybe the speech pace helped a lot. Moving on to Hasina. Hasina, you never listen. Hasina never listens. That was a catchphrase, people. So Hasina, going on into your R counter, you kept on repeating some words. I believe that you were not ready. You were just the nerves, like I said. Some of the sentences you didn't complete them, and I had I 3 times. Hasina never listens. That's just a phrase that I liked so much from her speech. Moving on to our last speaker, Changu Ernest. Changu Ernest, welcome to the club. And from what I heard in your speech, I had the words 3 times. And somewhere along your speech, you repeated means as a filler word or as a repetitive word. And giving all the feedback, the general feedback, thank you guys for showing up. It was a great improvement. This is my first time seeing the R's and the filler words being limited to only 3 or 4. So that's a great move. And thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Theo, for the way you listened. Wow, you're really paying attention to our speakers this evening. So I will then give my my grammarian, and then the general evaluation reports, and then I'll ask our timer to give us the final timing so that I can also be timed. So I'll start with the grammarian report. So our word of the day today was momentum, and I must say, quite a couple of people did use that word today. I think if I'm counting, it's about 7 people use the word of the day. I picked up Halalelos, Sekaba, Matidiso, Theo, Julie, Dumelo. Also used it myself. I hope I realized, wow, grammarian, you really have to listen to you really use your listening skills with this particular role so that you can hear all the words being used. And in terms of the use of the good English language, some of the things that I picked up, there were 2 quotes that were shared this evening. One was from Viktor Frankl. I know it was pretty long. The one that started with what happens to us and how we respond. It was very long. Then there was also another one, if you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. And then some good phrases. I picked up architect of your response, fight, flight, or flow with the moment, nestled at a meeting point. I think there was also one I wrote down here. We fight with our own reflections. So those are some interesting phrases, and just the way some of the sentences were structured gave some of the speeches today a very interesting flair to them. So I'd like to say, in terms of the word of the day, well done for everyone who used it, and would like to encourage you all. Normally when we have the word of the day in the meeting, it's a way for us to learn new words that we can incorporate in our speeches or even in our normal conversations. And with that, I would say my grammarian role comes to an end. Then I'll get into my general evaluation role. So in terms of the meeting, so it did start at 6 p.m. and our Toastmaster of the day was Matiso, who was doing this role for the first time. So I'd like to give her a very big hand. Well done in taking up this role for the first time. I always say, always just jump and you'll see, because the beauty about Toastmasters is that this is a learning environment. We're not necessarily expecting you to be perfect. We just want you to take that step and challenge yourself to take up different types of roles. So I'd like to say this even to other people here. Don't feel that you have to be perfect. All we want is for you to participate. As you do, that's when you will get better. So well done, Matidiso, on taking up this role. I can see that you did prepare and you tried to make sure that you did steer the meeting as it was moving along. I think only one thing I picked up is that when the speakers would come to the virtual stage, you are supposed to be the one to introduce them. Say, our speaker is Hasina with the speech title. That's the only thing that I picked up. But other than that, well done. Like I said, this is a learning environment. We're not expecting perfection. All we want is for you at least to participate. And as you move along, you will get better. Then in terms of our speakers, obviously on our agenda initially we had 6 speakers. We ended up with 4. So that was really great. And again, back again to our Toastmaster of the day, who was ensuring that even when a speaker wasn't available, when she noticed the speaker was on the call, she would then say, okay, now it's time for us to hear the speaker. So even though they were a little bit jumbled up, that was well done in ensuring that indeed the meeting flowed. And I know you even wanted to have the background applause. So that was something well done. At least then it added some extra noise to the meeting. So well done again, once again, Matiso, for the way you steered the meeting today. Our table topics, very engaging questions. And I know in the beginning, people would have been a little bit scared, but thank you so much to the Toastmasters who raised their hands and started off with the question. I think that gave some of our guests the confidence to be able to come to the virtual stage, and we got to hear very interesting impromptu speeches from our guests this evening. I think you can all say that they were all very diverse in what they shared with us today. And again, our Toastmaster of Table Topics Master, because you had many varying topics, then we got to hear many different impromptu responses. So well done on that. And I think in terms of our feedback session, the evaluation, I think we had top-notch evaluators today who followed the structure of giving an evaluation, and most of the feedback that they provided is something that even if you were not presenting today, I'm sure you can pick up some of that to help you to improve in your next speech. So thank you so much. Well done, all the evaluators today who presented. I think, yeah, it was amazing with the feedback that was shared. With that being said, I think in terms of time, we're doing very well. So should I say it's the Toastmaster of the day who's ensured that, or it's our timer of the day? Maybe both. Yeah, we're doing really well with the time. And with this being said, I'd now like to say this is the end of my general evaluation session, and I'd like to our timer to give us the timing for, I think it would be the table topics and the evaluators and the other role players. Nzamo? Oh, sorry, before I do that, sorry, apologies. Before I do that, let me just launch the poll for the best evaluator. So at least that can be done while you're giving us the timing report. All right, Nzamo, you can give us the timing.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator / Got so many heads today, but thank you. Well, let me start with our table topics. Our table topics, moi, the excellence table topics. Speech, the best speech, 1 minute, 30 seconds. And Julie, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, Julie. Yes, you're on the red. And Theo, 1 minute, 40 seconds. And Ernest, 2 minutes, 5 seconds. Pamela did it in 1 minute, 8 seconds. Excellent, guys. And Hackmaster, it was supposed to be 2 to 3 minutes, and we took 2 minutes, 34 seconds, which was excellent. Tumelo, Lame, and Tumelo in the evaluations, they took 3 minutes, 15 seconds each on all 3 evaluations. And Julie took 3 minutes, 40 seconds on her evaluations. And to you, Madam General Evaluator, you did it in exactly 4 minutes, which is excellent because your time was between 3 to 4 minutes. Thank you very much for an opportunity.
Thank you so much. I almost forgot to unmute myself. Thank you so much, Mzamo, for that. As we always say in Toastmasters, we have to make sure we start on time, finish on time, and even as you present your speeches, that you do speak within the required time. So with that being said, if I was, sorry, I'd close my agenda. I don't know if I'm to hand back to our president.
You can hand to me. Yes.
All right. Handing over to Tumelo. Yeah.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, Madam SAA, Zoom Master, many hats. A Toastmaster indeed wears many hats. I'd like to request that our guests stay on the call until the end of the session so that we can get to meet and greet you a little bit. But before that, I'll make my announcements before I ask for awards and recognitions, Leah, just so you can have a moment there. So as far as announcements go, our last Zoom meeting, which was 2 weeks ago on the 10th of July, was followed by a club meeting where we held our executive committee elections. In my opening, I said how this meeting or June marks the end of the tenure of our leadership here at Toastmasters. So our leadership term starts from the 1st of July up until the 30th of June each year. And leadership is roving in that we take turns, it's volunteer leadership, to lead our club in several ways. Our executive committee has 7 members, and during that meeting, we elected and appointed a new executive committee, which will be taking over from this current sitting executive committee. At that election, I am proud to announce that we voted for a president, a new president. I won't always be president of Gaborone Toastmasters as much as some may want me to be, but our new president is none other than Toastmaster Leah Msunga. She will be the incoming president. And her vice president education will be Balesama Khato. And her VPM or vice president membership will be Kagalelo Mukhodzi, while the VPPR or vice president public relations will be myself. As IPP, I will be stepping into the PR role. The secretary of the club will be Tepo Mahoe. The treasurer will be Lame Mteta, And our SAA or Sergeant at Arms will be our Toastmaster of the day today, Miss Matsidiso Tamaki. Please help me welcome our new executive committee. Please unmute and give a loud round of applause.
I just spotlight them.
Yes. On the call, some are unable to join us. Kakalelo, are you still there? Please join the call if you can.
Okay.
You know, I just realized my background is facing. Okay, never mind. But another round of applause to our new executive committee. These four ladies are repeating roles, and I'm forever eternally grateful that they will be back. But yes, thank you so much, ladies, for taking on the baton at Gaborone Toastmasters and continuing the legacy that is this club. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Back to my announcements. My second announcement is that our next meeting is 2 weeks from now, so not next Tuesday, but that other Tuesday on the 8th of July, right here on Zoom. So our program will be rolled out as usual. If you want to take up roles, please do reach out. And lastly, my third announcement is that we will be just a reminder here at Gaborone Toastmasters or Toastmasters in general lately, our chosen mode of communication is WhatsApp. So we use WhatsApp to relay our meetings, and any other planning and communication is done through WhatsApp. We have a WhatsApp group. It's titled Gab's Toasties. This WhatsApp group is both present and former Gaborone Toastmasters. We'd like to formulate a new group, however. I know some guests may be part of a guest group. Those still stand, but with this particular one, I mean for members of our club. We'll be starting a new WhatsApp group. Please do accept those invites when you do get them, because I know I've said that no one can put me in a group without my knowledge, but accept those invites. Just know we are starting a new group that will be a bit more intimate and just for us, Gaborone Toastmasters Club and our club affairs. Yes, so look out for that one. And Leah, I don't know, are you ready for rewards and recognitions? As usual, we had visiting Toastmasters who always visit our club. We are forever grateful for them. We'd like to extend our gratitude and also reward the best speaker, best evaluator, as well as the best table topics. Over to you, Madam SAA Zumasta.
Yes, as you said, our recognition. So we'll start with best evaluator. It's yourself, according to the vote. Well done, well done. And then I think today we were also voting for best table topics. So well done, Mzamo, for best table topics. And then best effort speaker of the night goes to Sahabo. Well done, Sahabo, for best effort speaker. And then, as you said, we always have people who join us. So appreciation to Dimpo, who was a speaker, Mzamo, our visiting Toastmaster, who was a timer, and Julie, of course, who was an evaluator. Thank you so much for coming to visit us here at Masters. And as you have said, we have two new members who gave speeches today. Changu and Sahabo today were giving speeches, and they're the brand new babies of Gaborone Toastmasters. So welcome, welcome. Guests, maybe this will be celebrating you on the 8th. Back to you,
Yes,
Tumelo.
please. You see, guests, you can get your own slide and have us roll out the red carpet for you. But as I said, please stay behind on the call. Leah, I don't know. Are you ready? Can I ask that we all switch on our cameras and take a photo? This is my last meeting as president. I'm so emotional. So please do it for me. If you at least do it for me, please, please, please. I'm so sad, but it doesn't mean I'm going anywhere far. I still will be at this club. It's my home. It's been my safe space for the past 3 years, and always a great time here at Gaborone Toastmasters. Please switch on your cameras. Please, 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 please do it for me. Please, please. please, before I close the meeting. Big smiles.
All right. I hope we are all ready. Okay, there we go. And I'm taking now.
Another one.
Uh-huh. Okay, let me do another one.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Leah, for that photo op. We will be using it for our thumbnail on YouTube. If you don't already follow our channel, please follow our channel. I like to tell everyone who won't listen, I'm famous on YouTube. My video has 11 views. But yes, please do follow our channel on YouTube. Without further ado, this brings us to the end of our meeting. We've done extremely well on time. Thank you to our Toastmaster of the day who has just calling the program as soon as possible. But let me just close. It's a bittersweet one for
Sorry,
me.
there's a hand from Theo.
Hi, Theo. Is there a problem?
Hello, team. Maybe you forgot to give us the certificate or who won from the polls.
Oh, you must have missed it. We already
Oh,
gave
okay.
the rewards and recognitions. Yes, I won
Oh, okay.
Best Evaluator and I signed my own certificate. That ends today. So you guys, yeah, the fraud will end. There's no need for you guys to report me to the
Okay.
DCEC. But
Thank
yes, they
you.
will be shared. Thank you, Theo. They will be shared in the group. And as I was saying, as we close tonight's meeting, I do so with a heart full of gratitude. This marks my last lap as the president of Gaborone Toastmasters Club, and what a fulfilling race it has been. The challenges tested me, the moments of growth humbled me, and the people, or all of you, made every step worthwhile. To my incredible executive committee, thank you for running this race with dedication, teamwork, and heart. You made the load lighter and the experience so much richer. To our members, thank you for your trust, your energy, and your belief in what this club stands for. As I now step into the role of immediate past president, I do so knowing this club is not at the end, but simply ready for its next lap, stronger and more inspired than ever. I think you can attest to this with our new executive committee. Let's keep going, let's keep growing, and let's never forget the finish line is just the start of something new. Thank you, Gaborone Toastmasters Club. It has been an honor. Thank you and good night. Please end the recording. Yes. Woo. Guests, please stay behind so we mingle. It's a sad one for me. It's the last time I address you as president, but yes, I'll probably address you as PR. So that's a win is a win.